You know, I've told a few stories in my lifetime, but I had told a story that I thought helped a little bit. When we looked at the film at the University of Iowa, all the university sent us films of their games. Bill Brazier, my defensive coordinator at North Texas, said, "Coach Fry," said, "sit down, look at this." And I don't know who Iowa was playing, but it was at Kinnick Stadium, 53,000 capacity, filled. Every time that the University of Iowa would make a first down, the whole crowd would just erupt. And I got to thinking, you know, wonder what in the world they'd do if they scored a touchdown. All my coaches have done a wonderful job. Coach Ferentz, he just like my son. He's such a class gentleman, and he's so smart. You know, when I hired Kirk Ferentz, I had several pro coaches apply for the offensive line job. And when I interviewed them, I'd make them go to the chalkboard and go through their techniques, the fundamentals, so I could see how organized and how sound they were. And Kirk Ferentz was head and shoulders above any of them. And I think the rascal lied to me. I'm not for sure, but I think he told me he was the offensive line coach. I didn't know he was a grad assistant. And I think he lied to me about his age. I think he told me he was 28 when he was really 26. But the first year he's with me, we won a Big Ten Gold to Rose Bowl, so it didn't matter. You see, well, after you turn 80, you have to work on your sense of humor. I do two things every morning when I wake up. I thank the good Lord I'm still on the right side of the grass when I realize I'm still alive. And I reach over and I chug like a quart of WD-40. Probably after the first workout in shorts, before we could suit up for spring ball in the spring, I remember Coach Bill Brazier, my defensive coordinator. I brought four of my coaches up from North Texas. He was one of them. I quizzed the coaches. I said, "Now tell me, who were you impressed with? Who do you think our leaders are going to be?" This is after one workout. And Coach Brazier said, "Coach Fry," he said, "we've got a guy out there." He said, "He'd chase you up there in those two-bit seats just to knock your jock off." And I said, "Who's that?" And he said, "His name's Bobby Stoops." And I talked to him, and his daddy's a football coach back in Ohio. And he said, "Oh, he is really hungry." I don't know how many times Gary saved my life, but we're playing Minnesota. If we win the game, we're going to win the Big Ten. We're playing in the Hubert Humphrey Dome. If we win the game, we're going to be the Big Ten champs, go to the Rose Bowl. We try a field goal on the last play of the game from 54 yards out. Had a kicker by the name of Rob Houtland, a great kicker. He kicks the ball, it hits the upright, bounces back. But Minnesota had 12 men on the field. So we penalized the Gophers 5 yards. We're now kicking from the 49-yard line on the last play of the game. It hits the crossbar, goes over. We win the game 12-10. They were ahead 10-9. As we walk across the field, I'm trying to think, what am I going to say to Coach Lou Holtz, legendary coach, great guy, etc. And before I can say anything, this big, ugly, bald-headed guy walking with him jumps out in front. And he says, and I quote, and I am cleaning it up, "Fry, you SOB, ought to kick your rump right here." Sheriff Hughes steps in between. I peep out around Sheriff Hughes, and I look at this guy, and I say, "Well, friend, if you people in Minnesota could count to 12, you'd have won the game." Tell you, the gentleman and I, we became good friends through the years. His name was Jesse Ventura. After we found out who the leaders were, I brought them in, and I think one of the reasons for our success, I call them a bell cow. All you guys that ever raised on a farm or anything know about a bell cow. That's an old cow that wherever it goes, the rest of the herd follows. And so we'll always put a bell around it, because you hear that bell ringing out in the pasture, you know where the whole herd is located. So I tried to find the bell cow at each position. I'd bring them into the office, and I'd say, gentlemen, this is the way you win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right down the line. Gentlemen, this is the way you lose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right down the line. Now, you're going to help me with your particular position. You're going to be my bell cow. You're going to be the leader. If they start doing these things that we lose with, I want you to take care of it. If you don't feel like you can take care of it, then you come and tell me. Because I knew the players would listen to someone they highly respected more than would an old football coach. And so that's how our discipline got started. And I've told a story. One of the greatest compliments I ever had is Coach Joe Paterno told me one time at a Big Ten meeting. He leaned over and he said, Coach Fry said, I just want you to know that I vote for you Coach of the Year every year. I said, man, that's a great compliment, Coach Paterno. Why would you do that? He said, well, just out of curiosity, I looked at the Iowa Almanac to see what the population of your state was. 2,600,000 at the time. He said, you know, within 100 miles of my campus, I've got 75 million people. So what I'm saying to you is that out of necessity, I know you have to recruit nationwide at the University of Iowa, and we don't have to do that here. I went over and told Bo at one of the games, and I think it was up at Ann Arbor. I said, Coach Schembechler, I said, don't run out there on the field contesting officials' calls and so forth. He said, what are you talking about? I said, well, just out of curiosity, I went over and measured your headphone a while ago, and the length of your card, you're going all the way to the hash mark, and your card it's 18 feet out, 18 yards out from your bench, and I said, your card only goes 15. You're going to strangle yourself. Because I played a lot of jokes on Bo. You know, they spent all day putting white butcher paper over the pink locker room and so forth, and pregame warm-up. I said, well, Coach, I understand you and your coach has been busy today. You SOB. And that's when we were number one and they were number two, and I had the guards and centers change position, and the guards are snapping the ball deep to the punters, bouncing back over the head. Bo comes down there and he's watching that. And I'm standing there with my arms crossed trying to keep a straight face. Finally said, Fry, you're not going to let that guy snap during the game, are you? I didn't look at him. I said, Coach Schembechler, we don't plan on punting tonight, and walked off.
Reporting from Fry Fest, I'm Alex Solsma for UWire, the College Network.